I'm very happy to see how the falconer stay on the right and the doctor stay on the left. I love this arrangement, and it's great that you are from both sides because I will combine both falconry and falcon medicine. And I said here we have very distinguished professors into every medicine. I was first falconer and then a doctor, so I was able to manage them both. Right. I'm sure a couple of us we met already before, and I've been last year here in Saudi for the Falcon racing. But in Dubai, I'm already 10 years. I've been first year with Sheikh Sultan bin Zayed in the private collection of the breeding center, and then I was managing the collection in Dubai, Dubai Falcon Center, very well the largest Falcon collection at that time. And I love to be part of the racing in the Middle East for the last couple of years. And I was combine my passion for the holistic medicine with the falconry. I believe a couple of you spoke about the history of the falconry. I will not get in all those details, but I hear everyone speaks about the falconry started in the Middle East, and it's interesting enough that the first news about falconry they were from Japan. So it's interesting that they were the first ones that they were attested to have done falconry there. And nowadays it's quite complicated to do a proper falconry like in the past to go and hunt everywhere. Now we have roads in construction all over, so it's getting more and more difficult to practice a proper falconry. In Europe it's quite nice. Anybody went in Europe for hunting? Not for shooting, I know you guys like to shoot, but the real falconry. So from August onwards, in most of the countries, especially Germany, Poland, Slovakia, Czech Republic, we are organizing what we call field meetings. So all the falconers, we are gathering together. You see here is a group picture in the morning, and they are the group of the falcons, the groups of goshawks or hereshawks, and the groups of golden eagles. I used to have a golden eagle. He was my master, Joseph Hibeler. He brought the science of training golden eagles from Mongolia, I think 50 years ago. So he was my mentor back in the day. So what we do after this meeting, we all go in different areas because eagles need to hunt deers and foxes and the big hares. The falcons need to hunt pheasants and ducks. So we will go to different areas, 100 kilometers from each other, so we don't interfere. And in the evening, we all get together and celebrating and telling the stories about how the day was. So it's a very different style of doing falconry. It's quite well organized. Now, of course, in the Middle East is one of the important point of spreading the falconry around the globe. Because this was many years ago when I first got introduced. So here I was representing Romania, I think it was like 50 years ago when Abu Dhabi held a festival of falconry. So 80 nations around the world, they came to represent falconry in their country. And I was still at the beginning of my time there. And in Romania, I was hunting with goshawks mainly, and rabbits and hares and pheasants and ducks. So it's quite nice hunting in Romania. And now every 4 years in Abu Dhabi, if you are tracking the time, there is a huge festival where falconers from all over the world, they are coming to show how the falconry develops in their country. Now, of course, now why the falconry grew up so much in the last couple of years in the Middle East because of the racing. And this is amazing because I see every year more and more kids they get involved in the falconry. So instead of this beautiful sport being forgotten, it's raising up. Every year, especially in the Middle East, in the Dubai, they are being ordered hundreds and thousands of more falcons. So it's really good for the falcon breeders in Europe, but also for the heritage here in the Middle East. And these are the main species that are being used in the falconry. A lot of people they prefer the Nissan. It's very strong. It doesn't get sick. You can place it in the car, stays there all the time. Right? Personally, I'm not a very good friend with sakers. I had one at some point. It was a very good falcon. I was training, and one time a buzzard came. A buzzard it's a hawk, that you always see it on the poles in Europe. When you go to Germany, when you drive, you'll see them like it's like called a bus, right? They stay near the road. So I was training my falcon, a bus came and the sick. I was so scared and flew until I never found her again. Since then, I never wanted to have a seeker again. That was 10 years ago. But my favorites are definitely peregrines, falcons. What is your favorite falcon? All of them? Who likes peregrines the most? Shaheen. Shaheen رقم واحد. Alhamdulillah. So in the racing, we have, of course, different categories of the racing who never been males, females, and different hybrids at different ages. Perfect. If you want to get into falconry, don't start with the gymnast, with the old birds, because you will be competing with the last champions for the last 10 years. So if you want to have a chance of getting the top 10 in the race, because you know very well, in the top 10, you get around 5,000, so it's very good. With a young falcon, you'll have a chance because they are only falcon from that year. So as a tip for new falconers, if you want to go for the racing. How it's all starting, right? So of course, before we have the falcon for the racing, first we need to breed the falcons. And this was from the breeding center that I used to manage before. So first it's very important how we choose the couples. So like in racing horses, we choose them according to the bloodlines, to the results of the parents before. And normally the darker ones, they have quite better results when it comes to gears. This is a baby chick in the first day. If you know, breeding in captivity is not easy. It's quite difficult. We need to take the eggs out of the parents because the rate of raising them and hatching them in the nest is very low. Take all the eggs and we hatch them all in the incubator, and until 7 days old we feed them. So we make sure that they are strong enough for the parents not to kill them when we put them in the nest. So they are about 1 week old. We place them in the nest with the parents, and they stay there up to, let's say, 1.5 months. In case we want to imprint them, to use them for breeding purposes, we keep them with us the whole time. In their mind, they become a human. So in their mind, they think they are a human, and that's why they will never really become a pair with an actual falcon. That's why they are used for artificial insemination. Once they are about 1.5 months old, we release them in a huge chamber to fly. Then we start training them outside. Of course, then the racing and the breeding part. This is really important. Why some of the falcons they perform very well. Some of the falcons they are standard. They don't ever do anything in the race. It's not only about the bloodline, but how they were raised every single step. From being a baby, being in that kind of sense of competition, of being, how do you call it, hot, right? Wanting to fight for the food. If they are getting given a lot of food, they become lazy, they start to have alula, and we have a lot of issues with them. They are always lazy. We need to have that spirit of competition. They become amazing in hunting and in racing when we are able to release them in a very big room where they are able to fly very well. We release them quails and pigeons where they can fly around, they can chase, get to be in a competition, to learn to fight for their food, right? And then of course when they are about 80 days old, we put in the jesses, of course water, we use astroturf, and the training starts, right? So they are all like in the school, like in a kindergarten. Everybody in their own seat. We check every day samples with endoscopies to see how they are inside. All of them, they are monitored daily. And then we start to go into the field. Once they are ready, once they jump. So we check the weights, and like kids, this is how they stay in the school bus when we go for the training. And so first, of course, they are used to trust the people to eat on the hand. That was the first moment, the most critical one. If they are really stressed in that period, it's very easy to get sick. That's why you always see young farmers getting sick so easily. Then, of course, they are being introduced to the lure, and luring, of course. It's so interesting, and I love falconry as a sport and competitions. And for people who don't know about falconry racing, when they hear first about it, it's like, that's animal abuse. You don't like that. It's so bad to catch an animal and then use it for sport. And I was thinking, well, it's like, well, not really. Home, play with your cat, right? You have that kind of white little thing, and then you play with your cat, and the cat is happy. The same with the falcon as well. For the falcon, it's something nice. He enjoys that. He doesn't have any leash. Nobody beats him on the back to fly. He fly because his heart wants. And when we play with the lure, when we give a pigeon, that's their life. They enjoy it. That's why I see it as one of the most beautiful sports out there, because the falcons, they do what they love the most. They fly and they hunt. Normally, when we start the season, it's very important when you get a falcon to check everything, because even from the outside looks perfect and breathes well, and maybe the marsh, how you call it, the fecal samples, they're looking okay. Inside might be already very sick, because you know very well that aspergillosis, it grows in 2-3 days. Everyone who gets a falcon, do the endoscopy. Very important. So normally we do a whole endoscopy. We check the air sacs, the crop as well. We take a blood sample, and then we create the protocols depending if the falcon will go for racing or for hunting. This, I'm sure, as doctors, you see the whole time as falconers, rather than monas. You know about pseudomonas, right? Monas. Everybody's carrying pseudomonas in Dubai. How is it in Saudi? Yes? Same? What do you think is the reason? Again? What do you think is the reason of pseudomonas? Yes. And you know who created that? Falconers. This is very interesting because everybody's asking, where is this coming from, pseudomonas? I treated my falcons and now they have again. Pseudomonas loves water. So in most of the water samples, especially if you have a farm, you have the tankies, if you send it to the lab, you'll have pseudomonas. It's everywhere. It's not about that, oh my god, where it came from. It's actually everywhere. What happened, if you leave it alone, it doesn't bite you. Like a snake. Don't come close, leave it alone, will go around. Now, when the falcon is going down, especially some new falconers, they put the weight down, they keep very cold, very dry, no light. But the manaha, the immunity of the falcon, will drop to the bottom. What's happening? So the mona says, look, I love this tissue here, there is no protection, no army, no security. Let me try to start to make my own family there to grow. And then, oh my god, the falcon starts to eat picky, starts to lose weight, starts to throw food. And what is doing? Most of the falconers take marbofloxacin, take flagyl, everything. Eat, everything. After 1 week, if it doesn't work, it becomes worse, the falcon losing more weight. They go to the doctor, doctor, tabanto, you're very bad, it's not taking weight, not eating. And then he's checking, you give another antibiotic without even checking the sensitivity. Boom, after 1 week, the falcon dies. Next week, another 5 falcons. They come, they have the same, without checking. Another one, give piperacillin, it gets worse and worse. It's happening every single time. Monas is like a tribe. They learn very fast. You remember pandemic, corona was always mutating, was always becoming stronger. So the monas, when you start to give antibiotics without checking properly and without boosting the immunity of the falcon, it's like going to the gym. The beginning it's very weak, you can flush it out so easy. Once you did this routine with antibiotics, it's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You give the best antibiotic after, it's like Ronaldo, goal, out. And then the falcon dies, so the one is much stronger, goes to the other falcons with low immunity, and that's how it goes. I spend a lot of time understanding how this gets transmitted, because we had a lot of falcons, and the number one thing is immunity. Why is that? I was having my own 5 falcons. So every day I go in the desert with my team, I train them my own, I have my own plane, my own drone, I do everything. And I did an experiment. I wanted to understand if it really affects the falcon that is strong. I kept them in the same room with the falcons that they were having a lot of aspergillosis, a lot of radar, and very weak and full. And I would give to my falcons to eat everything. So I let them kill the quail, I let them eat absolutely everything. The muscarine, the brain, the feet, everything. My falcons are like this. In 4 or 5 years since I had these falcons, they never get sick. no Fatriat, no Radat, no Madrishu, nothing. And they stay together with the sea falcons. It's all about the immunity they have. The wild, you find them strong. They eat sick pigeons, they eat everything. Because you know very well that the falcons, they are brought into our planet to eliminate all what is sick. They were to remove everything that is not fit to give the next generation. Normally, they are designed to eat everything that is having a lot of diseases and not get sick. But in captivity, they get sick because we bombard them with all those antibiotics and anti-inflammatories. These are the sure things. So number one, the water. So we take care that the water is like super filtered. We use some special ionization system that increases the pH and creates molecular hydrogen in the water. Then the pseudomonas cannot grow. Even if the immunity is a bit down, but the fact that pseudomonas is not present in that water anymore, that already helps big time. And when they are sick, then of course we have to go first the focus with boosting the immunity, boosting the weight up, and you see that pseudomonas will be more and more scared, and the falcon is getting very fast healthy. Trichomonas is the easiest to treat. This was the worst. I don't know if you saw herpes virus in here. If it's a real herpes virus, we were never able to save. Were you able to save any falcon with the herpes? In our case, never as well, because they came until the evening, then only they died, so we were never able to help them. And what I use in terms of prevention, this is my favorite topic, because I always believe that why to treat when we can prevent? And this is also for our own bodies. Do we want to be in our hundreds like Japanese? We go to Japan, 100 years old, run faster than us. We come to the Middle East, 60, 70 years old, people already in the hospital, cannot move anymore. So it's like, why? Because they prevent, they look ahead of things. So what I seen, for example, now the falcons they are getting here is AC. They get all these chicken legs and the quails and all bombarded with antibiotics and hormone factors and all. So all that goes inside the falcon. Now, who is the first filter? The liver. So the liver has the most to suffer. So even if it's not enlarged when we do the endoscopy, the liver already starts to suffer. And the performance of the falcon goes. And I always get the complaint, and I receive always hundreds of videos from falconers that the falcons, they don't want to eat anymore. They look to the food, they take it, they think, oh, should I eat it, should I not eat it? They leave it, they don't gain weight anymore. And they try to think about all the problems in the universe. Most of the time it's the liver that is suffering, and that is why all the issues are coming. During all my trials, I tried all the medicine in the world, because we had a very big collection. The budget was unlimited, so I could try everything. So I was going to different like traditional medicine and holistic medicine. I buy everything that I do my research, and then I try. So the one that worked the most was this specific seeds of curcum from Japan, and they are rich with squalene. So squalene is a cartilage of the shark, and they have as well fish oil, and they add inside as well some vitamin B12. B2 is down as well, perilla oil and other stuff. So that helps the liver to detox very fast and starts to work much better. The falcons, they start to again to have appetite, and they are able to detox that chemicals. And what I use a lot is garlic, and I prefer normally this kind of formula, so aged with certain kind of enzymes as well. And sometimes so interesting, because for critical cases of monas, we did as well the cultures. You placed a little bit of the garlic on the plate. You try antibiotics. None of the antibiotic works. The garlic works 100%. So many times we are able to save the falcon and to heal it fully within 1 week, only with garlic. Turmeric, garlic, beetroot powder works very well in improving the immunity as well. We always use it. A lot of my friends use shilajit, and sometimes I think quite good results as well when they were issues with the joints. As well, another liver support that I used a lot, probiotics. What kind of probiotics are you using here? What is your main probiotic in Saudi? What are you using? Do they work well? Right. interesting because every country uses different probiotics. I'm always researching what's really good and what really works. I'm curious to learn more about what you do here in Saudi. But this is very important because after strong therapies with the antibiotics, the whole digestive tract is damaged. You need the good bacteria once again. When it comes to normal medication, you know very well what's in the kit to boost them back, to hydrate them. So I always make special combinations of sulfalite and hemo, B12. Another thing, this is very, very important. When a falcon is very, very sick, very low condition, I've seen more falcons dying because too much food or of not being fed. When the falcon is like really weak, if you feed him normal food, you'll kill him. I've seen this hundreds of times, and I tell them, don't give him food. Like they give food, the next day he's dead because there is no more petrol in there. So how the falcon can digest that food? It takes a lot of energy to digest the food. So there is not enough petrol. First you need to put the petrol. For the falcon, the easiest, if you are in the field, if the falcon is really critical, you don't have a clinic around you, have this always in your fridge. So this is a special formula that is like a protein shake, right? In the moment you mix it with a little bit of water, if you have the hydrogen water, even better. You give like 10-20 ml. In few hours, you'll see that it's already stronger. Then you can already start to mix egg yolk and liver. They get stronger and stronger. In 2-3 days, the falcon is much better. If you give him food, this is really important to teach, especially new falconers. I see they always do this mistake. They drop very fast the weight because all their friends, Muhammad, your falcon is very bad, reduce the weight, don't give food, reduce the weight, every time. And this is a very sad story, and one of the reasons why I stopped for a couple of years to train falcons, because when I got my first child, I didn't have any more time to train myself, my own falcon. And I had my Shaheen with me for 4 years. He never had even Fatriyat. And I was getting a couple of times with her top 10 in the race. I gave her to my local friend in Dubai. In 1 month, sent me back frozen. When I checked the chest, like this, sharp. My Shaheen was always flying like 1050 in the race. With him in 1 month, I was like, oh my god, it was heartbreaking for me. It took me a long time to get close to the falcons because I love her like part of my family. It's like my daughter. So that's why I really pay attention to this. When a falcon is weak, don't give food. The falcon was like this, so it was very heartbreaking for me, and I take now the courage to start again falconry. I have some friends here in Saudi that most probably will compete this year. Another medicine that we use, you see this, for example, test that I do to see why the falcon are getting all the time sick. This is easy, even you as a falconer, you can do it. Take a plate, it's a mix of extra with agar that you place, leave it for 1-2 hours outside, place it in a warm room, and in 2-3 days you'll see something like this. You can see the contamination and how is exactly the air quality in the room, and you understand why the falcon is getting sick. So there's like quick tests that you can do. Some other stuff that I'm using time to time as an antibiotic, because sometimes we need antibiotic. Piperacillin normally was working for me in most of the cases, especially when something like really strong, I will give directly IV. So in combination with blood transfusion, something called Clostridium. You know about Clostridium? When the falcons are shitting blood, but blood, pure blood. So sometimes when it's very little, there's no problem. It's mostly the mucosa because of the falcon is getting too acidic. The pH of the blood is too acidic, and then the whole body becomes acidic. But when it's Clostridium, it's a very strong bacteria that when there's no oxygen inside, it grows and produces a very strong toxin. And I've seen that also sometimes in the breeding centers, but many times again with the beginner falconers. Again, it's a good education for beginner falconers. What's happening when we give frozen food? So we have the quail that was frozen, the chicken that was frozen. With the rats, I seen the most. Would they place him out to get defrosted? And many times they keep it in a bag, in a closed bag, and there is no oxygen. In that moment, if you leave it, let's say half an hour more than it should be, Let's say, for example, leave it out 1 hour. It's already still a bit cold. It's okay. The bacteria are still sleeping. If you leave it another half an hour, the bacteria waking up. Ah, nice here. I like it. No oxygen, dark, food, perfect. Bam! It opens like a bomb, like Hiroshima. It produces that toxic instantly, and you don't see anything. The quail still looks good. Everything is okay. You give it to the falcon. He's okay. The next day you go is barely standing, full blood, completely full blood. You try to take blood to check it and to do blood chemistry and so on. It doesn't stop. It's like, oh, that's what I know because sometimes it's not easy to make the difference. It's just acidity, so they move out the blood from the intestine, or there is the toxin from the Clostridium. You see that it doesn't stop when you take blood. It's like, oh, that moment, you know what I do? The only thing that can save the falcon is blood transfusion. Now, I don't know how many people they do blood transfusion in here, but when I first placed in this situation, I never did it before. I was taught theoretically by Dr. Peter, that he's the personal doctor of Sheikh Hamdan since, I don't know, 30, 40 years. And I used to go to him for critical cases, and he told me, whenever you have a falcon like this, the only thing that will save that falcon is blood transfusion. And not tomorrow, now. The moment I call Hussein, or the place, I said, listen, the falcon is dying 99% until evening. And this falcon was a champion. That she was winning many races, her name was Sharar. And I said, she's dying until evening, 99%. I have only one chance. I need to do blood transfusion. I was still young at that time. And he asked me, have you ever done it before? My dreams. I never ever did it in my life. I have no idea how it works. But Dr. Peter told me theoretically. I told the breeder, bring me the fattest Jerry female that you have in the breeding collection. I need some really strong blood. I had 2 blood machines. I was very lucky. I set them all. I slit them all of them. I created the cocktails. With the falcon blood is quite tricky. You have to be very fast. You need to manipulate it with a lot of care. Change the needles very quick. I had to do it like you change the racing cars, the Formula One. You have like 10 seconds to change the tire, put petrol, and do everything. Even if I never did it in my life, 15 ml. We make them all up. Start with the infusion with the piperacillin IV with the catheter, and I saved the falcon. I was very happy because it was the first case I ever had, and it was so rewarding to see that falcon living and being able to make babies the next season. This is so beautiful. When you are a doctor and you are able to give back the life, this makes your day. This was my first Gir falcon that I was training. I used to train Shahiz and other, and it had also a very interesting story. They wanted to put her down, right, to make her halal because she has a completely broken leg with gold pieces. So we did a very special surgery. We clip it back, and I was able to raise her. So here how we start the training with the airplane. If you never seen the training, it's amazing. Doctors, go and watch. It's so much fun. Used to play the whole time with the falcon that way. Of course, to get a strong start, the falcon need to have a very strong start in the race. We use the big airplane, so they need to have a very strong start. That's building up the muscles very well. Then, of course, racing, you register the falcons. They are all waiting for their turn, and probably you saw it on the TV, and it's so easy. I'll just get the falcon there. Go, stand, the falcon goes, oh, mashallah, I'm a champion. It doesn't work that way. It's every single aspect of that is so important. By the moment you get in, you gotta let the falcon see it. Make sure that he see the falconers because it's 400 meters away. Make sure that you give him a little bit of food so he's grounded, he's not staying a little bit wrong. Make sure you don't hold the leash. Then make sure that he's in the right position. Make sure you don't push it. There are like 100 small little things that can help you become a champion or not. So here you see from the actual, you see all the things that you give the tidbits, and then you let her go. This was amazing because she was donated to me because all her feathers were broken. But it's interesting, this falcon had all the feathers implanted. So they were so broken when she came from Slovenia. that we have to replace all the primary feathers. Replace them with the metals, right? Because they're broken from the base, very strong metal. I think she had already like 600 grams of metal. The first season, this falcon could never go more than 50 meters up. For the racing was very good because she was always flat. She was never going up, and maybe that was a good thing as well because she never went up. So even until the fourth year, she was always down, always straight, always strong. It was interesting. I love her. In 2019, together with Zoli, he was the breeder of the Falcon Center. We got #1 in the race. First time as a foreigner in competition. I done with more than 50 professional falconers. And of course, I understood that here in Saudi, it's starting as well the falconry with the kids, right? Is it started already, or you have it before? You have it. Beautiful. So it's amazing. In Dubai, we do that for probably at least 7-8 years, and the kids are getting training, and it's so amazing to see a little guy like 6 years old. You see how concentrated, how focused, and I see something beautiful that can be advertised in the government as well to let kids to learn falconry, rather than staying all the time on the PlayStation and becoming aggressive, having all that ADHD and so on. Teaching them falcons, teaching them stability, teaching them grounding. I feel it's really important for the next generation. That's why we have a lot of kids. Of course, even the foreigners are allowed. So this kid was training with me every morning. His father used to bring him in the desert, so we used to teach him all the tools of how we can train a falcon to participate in the race. And now we have the beauty falcon contest. Oh, so who never been to a beauty falcon contest? It's amazing. They choose the most beautiful falcons in the world, and they all compete who is the largest, the most beautiful, most white. And everyone wonders what are the falcons doing when the falcon season is finished. Well, if they're bringing really good results, they get to relax in a very big majlis. 6 months they are in vacation like in Hawaii. So they have a big space. Every day they get full food. If they are not having good results, sadly, they go into the market. And it's also something that I would love to address, probably from the governmental level, what to do with this kind of falcons, because they end up in markets, they are getting sick there, and hundreds of them are dying every year. So it would be amazing to find a solution to give a second chance to these falcons. Perhaps create a center where they can be next year trained only for kid competition, donated to the kids. So maybe the government can invest a little bit to help those falcons to save them, because otherwise, sadly, they are dying on the purchasing shops. And that's sad, because so many breeders, they put their heart to breed that falcon. They come all over from Canada maybe, and they end up dying in a shop where they can be given a second chance. It's so big. I'm sure a lot of kids. As well, something interesting can be done. Kids with autism, kids with ADHD. I believe there are so many centers. It can be programs where are being taught how to have a falcon. And we saw it, kids that they have issues, they cannot focus. Give him a falcon on the head and let him stay a little bit. They change, they become nicer, and those kids can be integrated into society later on using these tools. Falconry can help in many ways, more ways than you think. Every single small detail, from choosing the breeders, from the breeding itself, from the training, from prevention, every single thing play a role if you want to have really good results as a falconer. That was all from my side. I'm sure there's a lot of things that you knew, a lot of things that were intriguing probably. If you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer.